Yeah, hi friends. My name is Philip Chandan, and welcome back to my channel Energy and Environment Education. Friends, this is the third chapter, the compressed air system, and it's a very important chapter as far as examination is concerned. So those aspirants who are looking forward to take exam this year or in the coming years and wishes to prepare for this exam, the Bureau of Energy exam, for Energy Auditor exam or Energy Manager exam if you're taking. For those aspirants, it's a very important chapter because a lot of questions comes from this chapter. Uh, Maybe for objective questions or short answer type questions, even number of numericals comes from this chapter. So this chapter is very important for all the aspirants. And if you have missed the other two chapters that I have already made videos on, that is electrical system chapter 1 and the chapter 2 is the motors. So both chapters are also important, and I have already made videos and uploaded. So if you have not gone through those videos, please go through. Those videos will help you to prepare for your examinations in a better way. And so let's start this chapter also, friends. This is a compressed air system, the third chapter of book 3 of Bureau of Energy exam. So let's start the video, friends. So here is the content, friends, that I am going to discuss on this chapter in this particular video. So first of all, I'm going to give a brief introduction of about compressed air. Secondly, I will be dealing with the types of air compressors, which is very important and which is a major part of this chapter. So the types of compressors, air compressors I will be dealing with. Thirdly, the general selection criteria for compressors is also an important point where number of questions you can expect from this part of chapter also. And the fourth will be system components. The air compressed air system components. Those part also is very important for you to understand a number of questions you can expect from this part of the chapter also. So these are the four topics that I'm going to discuss in this particular video. So let's see the first part, friends. So to start with, friends, I'm not going to discuss about the air compressor all about. I hope all the students who are taking exam must be well aware of what is air compressor or compressed air system. So I'm not going to discuss more on that topic, but yes, a very important aspect of the compressed air system that I want to reveal here or I want to discuss here is the losses in the compressed air system, and it's very important for you to understand also as far as the examination is concerned, and as the concept is concerned, friends. Basically, what happens is that is 60 to 80% of the power that is used by the compressor to compress air is basically loss gets lost in the form of heat loss, and also like lesser extent of it also is gets lost in the form of friction or misuse or in the form of noise. So basically, only 10% of the power that is consumed by the compressor is actually used by the compressor to compress air, and 90% of it gets wasted. So there is a very much potential of trapping those losses. You can increase the efficiency of the compressor if you trap those losses. So energy saving potential is too much here in compressor, and that's the reason why any energy auditor, if they go for audit, they generally what they do is they tap the compressed air. They study the compressed air system because they get a lot of potential there for energy saving, friends. So this is the aspect you must understand as an auditor also. If you become an auditor, you have to go for compressed air system audit, because there you will find a lot of losses going on, and you will see that if you use some upgradations in the compressor system, or if you technical changes if you do in the compressor system, you will see a lot of heat loss or any other losses can be tapped in. So this is very important in that aspect also for the compressor point of view, friends. And also for the example point of view, you must understand that in the compressed air system, maximum part of the compressed air system gets lost in the form of heat loss and other losses. Only 10% of the energy is used basically by the compressor to compress air. So this is very important as far as the examination is concerned, and also as far as the audit is concerned, friends. And this is a typical compressed air system layout, friends. It's not very important as far as examination is concerned. Basically, you won't be finding too many questions from this part. They won't be asking you to make the, draw the diagram, and but still you must understand how the different components are connected with each other and how they are placed in a network diagram. So in that case, you must understand this entire diagram, and you must understand the different components also. Basically, as far as exams are concerned, you will be asked different components, their working principles, and how they contribute in the entire air distribution system. So different components like air dryer is there, air receiver is there, and all other, I mean, so the different components you must remember and you must name them. Also, the working principle of those components are very important for you to understand, friends. So, this thing I will be discussing in the later part of the video. And for the time being, only the diagram is shown here and how the different components are placed and how they are connected to each other in the air distribution system that is shown here. It's not very important as far as the exams are concerned, but still you must at least understand this diagram and you must remember that how they are connected, these components are connected and placed in the air distribution system, friends. So you may be asked some questions, but not too often, friends. So you may at least understand the diagram, friends. And now the type of compressors, this is very important. Basically, this chart is also important. Sometimes you may be asked to state the different types of compressors and show it with the help of a chart or a diagram. This diagram is very important. Also you must understand the what is positive displacement compressor all about, or dynamic compressors, and the different types of positive displacement compressors or dynamic compressors. So basically, reciprocating, rotary, or the centrifugal compressors are very important for you to understand, and how they function, what are the working principle of those compressors are also very important. Where are they used, why they are used, those things also are important. So I will be dealing with all these things in the later part of the video, but still for the time being you must understand this part of the chapter, or this diagram is very important for you to understand. Maybe they may ask you to draw the entire this chart. So this is very important for you to understand as far as exams are concerned, friends. You may be asked as a sort of short answer type questions or a part of long answer type questions, friends. And also you must understand the different types of compressors. So you not only name them, you must also understand that a short description about all those types of compressor will be asked in the exam. So the number of questions have been asked earlier also, and you may expect few questions this year also, friends, from this part of the chapter. So this is the picture of a reciprocating compressor, and it's not very important as far as the exams are concerned, because they are not going to ask you to draw the reciprocating compressor, but still you must remember the picture, because they may give you the picture and they may ask you to state the different uh, uh, parts of the compressor. So A, B, C, D, in this way they will name it. This picture they will give you, and then they will ask you to name the different parts which are placed as named as A, B, C, D, etc. So this thing is very important for you to understand, friends. Not the sketch of the diagram or the sketching of the diagram will be asked in the examination, friends. And second thing is what is how it works, the working principle of the reciprocating compressor, and how it is used or where it is used and why it is used. Those things are very important for you to understand, friends, as far as the reciprocating compressor or other compressors are concerned. So let's see the first of all the reciprocating compressor. So here are the few important points for you to understand, friends, because these points you may be asked a different type of questions in the examination. These points I have extracted from the chapter and placed for you to understand, and maybe in objective questions may be asked from these points as far as reciprocating compressor is concerned, friends. And as far as the working principle or other features are concerned about the reciprocating compressor, those things I have placed a few short clip in this video, so that in that video you'll be understanding the working principle of the reciprocating compressor all about. So here are the few points: a piston driven through a crankshaft and connecting rod. This is the feature of the compressed air, the reciprocating compressor. Secondly, single acting and double acting. These two important points you must understand: what is single acting compressor, reciprocating compressor, and what is double acting reciprocating compressor. It's already mentioned in the chapter. You may go through and understand. The third point is a large industrial reciprocating air compressors are double acting and water cooled. Basically, these large industrial reciprocating compressors are not air cooled, they are double acting, not single acting, and they are water cooled, not air cooled. These are key points which you must understand about the reciprocating compressor, and you will be asked as a fill in the blanks, or maybe as a true false, or maybe as a arbitrary questions, friends, in the examination. Multi-stage double acting compressors are the most efficient compressors. So they may ask you which type of splitting compressors are most efficient. So you have to name it as a multi-stage double acting compressors, or maybe they will give you single stage or multi-stage or any or both. And this type of question also they will ask, and they will ask you to name identify the correct answer. Also, respiratory compressors are available in the sizes from less than 1 HP to 600 HP. So range also they may give you, and they may ask you to say true or false, whether it is correct or not. This way also they may ask you a question, or maybe fill in the blanks, or maybe as a objective question, friends. So these are the very important points which I have extracted from the chapter and placed for you to understand, and where you can expect few questions from the respecting part of the chapter, friends. And also the entire, I mean, the working principle will be discussed in the video, or the short clip that I have presented here in this video, friends. As far as the rotary compressors are concerned, some of the key points you must understand, that is most commonly used in surges from about 30 to 200 HP. So if they ask you to differentiate between the, also they may ask you in this way also questions in the examination, that is differentiate between the rotary compressor and the centrifugal compressor, or the centrifugal compressor, rotary compressor, or they may ask you reciprocating compressor, rotary compressor differences. So they may ask you to either uh, state the different types of compressors, or the working principle of the compressors, or they may ask you to differentiate between the different types of compressors, or they may ask you only to explain in brief only one compressor or two compressors. Like suppose they may ask you to explain in brief the rotary compressor and the reciprocating compressor. Maybe they may ask you to state all the different type of compressors and state, I mean, explain in brief. Or maybe they may ask you to only differentiate between the three types of compressor. That is, they may already list it, that is reciprocating compressor, rotary compressor, or centrifugal compressor, and what are the key differences between them. So you may expect in different ways the same type of questions may be asked in different ways in the examination, friends. So this part is very important for you to understand. A number of times the questions have already been asked in several years. So you may expect a few questions from this part of chapter, friends. As far as the key points are concerned, the first point, as I said, most commonly used in sizes from about 30 to 200 HP. The first point. Second point is most common type of rotary compressor is that helical twin screw type compressor. The third part is rotary screw compressors have low initial cost, compact size, low weight, and are easy to maintain. So it's a very important key feature about the screw compressor, rotary screw compressor, which you must remember, that is low weight, easy to maintain, compact size, initial cost is also low. Rotary screw compressors are available in sizes from 3 to 600 HP and maybe air or water cooled. Less consumption rotary compressors include sliding vane, liquid ring, and scroll type. So all these features I have not going to discuss in detail here, friends. You may go through in the book, which is already mentioned there in the chapter in detail. So it's very easy to understand. Also, the again same thing. I have already placed a short clip. There you may go through the clip, and you may understand how the rotary compressor works. So reciprocating compressor, rotary compressor I have discussed. Now comes the third type of compressor, that is a centrifugal compressor. So they may ask you to name a dynamic compressor. So you have to state that is this centrifugal compressor. That is the first question. Also they may ask you to differentiate between the dynamic compressor, or centrifugal compressor, and the screw compressor and the reciprocating compressor. These type of questions you may be asked. So, and the key points here which I have highlighted here, this compressor raises the pressure of air or gas by imparting velocity energy and converting it into a pressure energy. This is a common feature. Second point is centrifugal feed type is the most common and is widely used for industrial compressed air. So they may ask you the question, number of type objective questions are also asked, that which is the most common type. So it is a centrifugal type compressor, which is the most common type and is widely used for industrial compressed air system. Some large manufacturing plants use centrifugal compressor for general plant air, and in some cases plants use other compressor types to accommodate demand load swings, while centrifugal compressors handle the base load. It's also an important point, friends. So you may be asked which is the compressor, which type of compressor is used to handle the base load of any plant, of any industry. For that you need to understand it is centrifugal compressor, friends. So, and also you see the centrifugal type of compressor is most common and is widely used for industrial compressed air. So this type of question also will be asked in the objective type questions. Already this type of questions have been asked earlier also, and you may expect in the coming exam also, friends. Now, sir, let's see a short clip on types of compressor, friends, and their working principle. So basically, it's a very small, short clip, and it's very beautifully explained the different type of compressor, like the reciprocating compressor, or centrifugal compressor, or the screw compressor, and other different compressors, how they work, and what the working principle of those compressors. So these type things are explained in a very short video, friends. I mean, short clip, friends, and hopefully this will help you to understand this different type of compressor in a better way, and also help you to prepare for your examination, friends. So let's see the video, friends.
Today we're going to discuss about compressor and their types. Compressor. A compressor is a mechanical device that increases the pressure of a gas by reducing its volume. Compressors are similar to pumps, both increase the pressure of a fluid and both can transport the fluid through a pipe. As gases are compressible, the compressor also reduces the volume of a gas. Though air compressor is not directly connected to the pneumatic system, it plays a vital role in the overall system performance. Various types of air compressors are used in the industry, but the most popular type of compressor in the industries is positive displacement compressor. The air receiver is also a very important component. For uninterrupted supply of compressed air, receiver with optimum size should be selected. As we know that the Earth's atmosphere is a mixture of gases such as nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, helium, krypton, hydrogen, ozone, and water vapor, etc., in different proportions. Because of the presence of the water vapor, condensation of moisture should be given due importance while one selects and installs a compressor plant. Some compressors have receivers attached together, and some doesn't. Compressors after working continuously for several hours get heated up. That is why compressors usually have cooling systems. Compressor plant should be located at places with good air ventilation. Classification of air compressors. Compressors can be classified in two ways. They are: 1. According to the pressure delivered, and 2. The design and principle of operation. 1. Compressors according to the pressure delivered. Low pressure air compressors, LPAC, which have a discharge pressure of 150 pounds per square inch or again less. Medium pressure compressors, which have a discharge pressure between 150 to 1000 pounds per square inch. High pressure air compressors, HPACs, which have a discharge pressure above 1000 pounds per square inch. 2. Compressors according to the design and principle of operation. Single-stage reciprocating compressor. Two-stage reciprocating compressor. Compound compressor. Rotary screw compressor. Rotary vane compressor. Scroll compressor. Turbo compressor and centrifugal compressor. 1. Single-stage reciprocating compressor. In single-stage reciprocating air compressor, the entire compression is carried out in a single cylinder. The opening and closing of a simple check valve depends upon the difference in pressure. If mechanically operated valves are used for suction and discharge, then their functioning is controlled by cams, as shown in this animation. When piston starts moving downwards, the pressure inside the cylinder falls below atmospheric pressure and suction valve opens. The air is drawn into the cylinder through a suction filter element. This operation is known as suction stroke. When the piston moves upwards, compresses the air in cylinder and inlet valve closes when the pressure reaches atmospheric pressure. Further compression follows as the piston moves towards the top of its stroke, until when the pressure in the cylinder exceeds that in the air storage. This is compression stroke of a compressor. At the end of the stroke, discharge valve opens and air is delivered to air storage tank. Two-stage reciprocating compressor. With two-stage air compressors, the air is compressed in two stages. In between the stages, the air is cooled. Stage 1. Air is compressed to medium level, which is the big cylinder. It moves a high volume of air, but at a low pressure. Now the air is cooled back to a much lower level, making the compressor more efficient and reducing stress. Stage 2. The air is compressed further to the end pressure, which is the small cylinder. It moves a lower volume of air, but at a higher pressure. On some models, you can clearly see the two stages, while on others, the low pressure and the high pressure cylinders are cast in one block, making it look like a single stage compressor. 3. Compound compressor. In compound compression, the work of compression is divided into 2 or more stages. In two-stage compression, air is compressed in the low-pressure cylinder to a certain point, then forced into an intercooler where it is cooled to approximate its original temperature, then passes into the high-pressure cylinder, in which it is compressed to the final or delivery pressure. 4. Rotary screw compressor. A rotary screw compressor uses a rotary-type positive displacement mechanism. They are commonly used to replace piston compressors. Where large volumes of high-pressure air are needed, either for large industrial applications or to operate high-power air tools such as jackhammers and impact wrenches. For smaller rotor sizes, the inherent leakage in the rotors becomes much more significant, leading to this type of mechanism being unsuitable for small air compressors. The gas compression process of a rotary screw is a continuous sweeping motion, so there is very little pulsation or surging of flow, as occurs with piston compressors. This also allows screw compressors to be significantly quieter and produce much less vibration than piston compressors, even at large sizes, and produces some benefits in efficiency. 5. Rotary vane compressor. You have a cylindrical rotor inside of a housing, and this rotor has slots where the vanes are. The vanes can slide in and out. The rotor is set eccentrically, off-center, in the housing so that on one side it almost touches. As the rotor spins, the vanes are thrown out by centrifugal force, until they touch the housing. If the pump is oil lubricated, there will be a thin film of oil in between the vane and housing. As air enters through the inlet, it's trapped between the vanes. As the rotor turns, the volume of the trapped air is gradually reduced. The reduction in volume raises the pressure. Six. Scroll compressor. A scroll compressor uses two interleaving scrolls to compress gases. The vane geometry is Archimedean spiral. Often, one of the scrolls is fixed, while the other orbits eccentrically without rotating, thereby trapping and pumping or compressing pockets of fluid between the scrolls. Another method for producing the compression motion is co-rotating the scrolls, in synchronous motion, but with offset centers of rotation. The relative motion is the same as if one were orbiting. Leaks from axial gaps are prevented by the use of spiral-shaped tip seals, placed into grooves on the tips of both spirals. These tip seals also help lower the friction and can be replaced when worn down. Some compressors use the pressurized discharge gas to push both scrolls together, eliminating the need for tip seals. They have casings filled with lubricant to prevent abrasion of the exterior of the pump tube and to aid in the dissipation of heat, and use reinforced tubes, often called hoses. This class of pump is often called a hose pumper. Since there are no moving parts in contact with the fluid, peristaltic pumps are inexpensive to manufacture. Their lack of valves, seals and glands makes them comparatively inexpensive to maintain, and the hose or tube is a low-cost maintenance item compared to other pump types. Seven, turbo compressor. Thermal turbo compressors are turbo machines which concentrate a compressible gas with the help of dynamic principles. In doing so, the gas continuously enters the rotating impeller. Mechanical shaft power is transferred to the fluid with the help of the blades and resulting in a significant pressure and temperature increase. The remaining kinetic flow energy is afterwards mostly converted into pressure in the diffuser. The compressed gas is then either collected in a volute or transferred to a second compressor stage with the help of a return channel. In figures, the components of a one-stage, centrifugal turbo compressor and the close-up of an impeller including blades are shown. 8. Centrifugal compressor. Centrifugal compressors, sometimes called radial compressors, are a subclass of dynamic axisymmetric work-absorbing turbomachinery. They achieve a pressure rise by adding kinetic energy or velocity to a continuous flow of fluid through the rotor or impeller. This kinetic energy is then converted to an increase in potential energy or static pressure by slowing the flow through a diffuser. The pressure rise in the impeller is in most cases almost equal to the rise in the diffuser.
So I hope friends you must have enjoyed the short clip where the working principle of different type of compressors are discussed. So I hope you must have enjoyed the entire clip and you must have understood now how the reciprocating compressor and other compressors works. And now we are going to deal with a very important part, that is the general selection criteria for compressors. It's very important because when you are going to discuss about the difference between the reciprocating screw or centrifugal compressor, this particular chart is going to help you to understand friends. And all the numbers is not very important to I mean by heart it, but at least you must know the the different range of these capacities and the pressure. So basically when you talk about the capacity for the reciprocating compressor or the screw compressor or the centrifugal compressor, so the like suppose if you're going for single stage or two stage compressors, in case of reciprocating compressor the capacity varies from 100 meter cube per hour to 12,000 meter cube per hour. This is the range for the single or two stage compressor. And if the pressure as far as pressure is concerned, it starts from 0.8 bar to 12 bar for the single stage or two stage reciprocating compressor. Similarly for the multi-stage reciprocating compressor, the capacity varies from 100 meter cube per hour to 12,000 meter cube per hour, as the same as the single and two stage reciprocating compressor. But yes, the pressure here is from 12 bar to 700 bar. This is the great difference between the single stage, two stage reciprocating compressor and the multi-stage compressor. So if they ask you in this way also कि how to differentiate between single stage, two stage reciprocating compressor and the multi-stage reciprocating compressor, you see the capacity remains the same but the pressure varies here. This is a very key point you to understand and remember friends, as far as reciprocating compressor is concerned and different types of reciprocating compressor is concerned friends. Again, if you see the screw type compressor, the single stage, you see the capacity is from 100 meter cube per hour to 2400 meter cube per hour. Again, two stage, it is from 100 to 2200 meter cube per hour. So not too much difference is there between the single stage and two stage screw type compressors. But yes, again the pressure is as far as single stage is concerned 0.8 bar to 13 bar, and for the two stage compressors screw compressor it is from 0.8 bar to 24 bar. So this is a major difference between the single stage screw compressor and the two stage screw compressor. So they ask you the difference between the different types of screw compressors, single stage and two stage. So you have to give these figures friends to explain it. Again, the centrifugal compressor, if you consider, the capacity is from 600 to 300,000 meter cube per hour friends, and the pressure is concerned 0.1 to 450 bar. See, if you see the what I explained in the first part also, that is later earlier slides, for the base loads for the you see the this type of compressor, centrifugal compressor, is why it is considered. So you may answer from this part of the this figures also may help you to answer those questions, friends. Why the centrifugal compressor is considered as a base for the base load in any industry or in any plant, friends. So you see the capacity and you see the pressure. This will help you to answer those questions also, friends. So this is a very important part while selecting the different type of compressor as per your need, as per the pressure requirement or as per the capacity requirement in any plant or in any industry. So these are the different figures that you must understand, and also these figures are important for you to understand, because if you are asked to give the difference between different types of compressors, there also this figure is going to help you out. And also if they ask the difference between sprocket and screw and centrifugal compressors, there also this figure is going to help you, friends, to explain you the differences in the exam, friends. So this chart is very important for you to understand. And as I said in the first, I mean, initial part of the video, that the system components is very important as far as the air compressor system is concerned. Basically, you may be asked to define or explain or name the different uh, components of the air compressed air system. The first point will be this. Second thing is to explain each of the components. So you may be asked a full long answer based question, or maybe a part of long answer type questions, or short answer type question also may be asked on this part of the chapter, friends. So it's very important for you to understand, because they may ask you in different ways the same question. Maybe they will ask you to only list out the different components of the air compressed air system, one question, or maybe they will ask you to explain each of the components of the air compressed air system. So you may ask me in the same question different ways, friends. So if you see the system components or air compressed air system components, the first component is the air filter. Second is the interstage coolers or after coolers. Then the air dryers is there. Then moisture traps are there. Then air receivers are there. So these are the major components of the air compressed air system, friends. So if you see the air intake air filters, what it does, those things are explained here. That is, prevents the dust and atmospheric impurities from entering into compressor. So this is very important. Why the air filter is important as far as the compressed air system components are concerned. Then the interstage coolers, what is the difference between the interstage coolers and after coolers? That type of question also can be asked as a short answer type question, friends. So from this part also the other questions can be extracted out, like what is the difference between the interstage cooler and the after coolers, and what are the different I mean functions. Those things also can be asked. Like suppose if you see the interstage coolers, it reduces the temperature of the air or gas before it enters the next stage to reduce the work of compression and increase efficiency. This is the working of the interstage cooler. Now if you see the after coolers, it reduces the temperature of the discharge air and thereby reduce the moisture carrying capacity of the air in the distribution system. So this is the major difference between the interstage cooler and the after coolers. Then the air dryers, why it is important? Air dryers are used to remove the moisture as air for instrument and pneumatic equipment. So basically the air dryers are used to remove the moisture in the compressed air, which is uh, which is distributed in the entire air distribution system, friends. So that is the function of the air dryer. So they may ask you to define what is air dryer or explain air dryer in a short type question, friends. What are moisture traps? Air traps are used for removal of the moisture in the compressed air distribution lines. So this is the working of the moisture traps. So they may ask you what to also explain you what are moisture traps all about. Then receivers, depending on the system measurements, one or more receivers generally provide to reduce the output pulsations and pressure variations. This is a function of the receivers. So basically what I tried to explain you, I have tried to highlight you the major components of the compressed air system. So these are the major components. So they may ask you only to state these components, or maybe may ask you to state the components and also explain those components in brief, friends. So different type of questions you may expect, and it's very important for you to understand this part of chapter as far as the examination is concerned, friends. And finally, friends, I have highlighted few key points which you must remember as far as examination is concerned, very important for you. And I have extracted from the chapter only these points. So you must understand these points, and maybe they may ask you different type of questions, objective questions, or maybe short answer questions from these key points, friends. So the air distribution system links the various components of the compressed air system to deliver air to the points of use with minimal pressure loss. This is a very important point for you to understand, and I have highlighted here. Second point is specific configuration of the distribution system depends on the needs of the individual plant. I mean, plant to plant it varies. I mean, the type of compressor which is needed for the plant varies from plant to plant and the industry as per the requirement. Also frequently consists of an external network of main lines, branch lines, valves, and air hoses. These are the few important components of a distribution system, of a compressed air distribution system, friends. So you must also remember this point. The length of the network should be kept at a to a minimum to reduce the pressure drop. I mean, you must not extend too much of the length of the network. Basically, you must keep it as short as possible. This will also help you to reduce the pressure drop in the compressed air system line, friends. Air distribution piping should be large enough in diameter to minimize the pressure drop. This is also a key point you must understand as far as the example is concerned. They may ask you, also maybe they may ask you to explain this key point, why the air distribution piping should be large enough, and how, or they may ask you in the other way also, how you can minimize the pressure drop in a air distribution line system. So they may ask for different type of questions. When designing on an air distribution system layout, it is best to place the air compressor and its related accessories where temperature inside the plant is the lowest. They may ask you the question like why the air compressor components or air compressor should be placed at a low temperature range, a low temperature area, and not a area where the temperature inside the plant is high. So they may ask you to explain these different types of points which are very important as far as the exams are concerned, friends. So go through the chapter in the book. There it is explained there. You must understand all these key points, and they may ask you different type of questions. So you must be ready to answer those questions in the exams, friends. So this is all about the air distribution system. I mean, compressed air first part, and I'll be also dealing with the second part in the next video that I'm going to upload. This is the part A end of the part A, friends. Part B is coming soon, and I'll be uploading the second part of the video where I'll be also dealing with the different numericals and different formulas which are important from this chapter, which you must understand, and how to solve those numericals. Also, I'll be explaining, and other key points which are also important from this chapter, friends. Compressed air will also be dealt in the second part. So please, you should watch the second part also. I believe this will help you to prepare for your exams and this exam or in the coming years, friends. So this is all the end of the video, friends, and hopefully you must have enjoyed the video. Something I would have contributed from my side which will help you to prepare for your exams, and I hope so. If you feel that this is important for you, these videos are important for you, and I'm at least spending my time for those, making those videos for you, friends. It's a free of cost videos. You may be paying to you, going to an institute or somewhere else. You may be paying for that. I'm making it free for you, but only one request, as I request in other videos also, I requested only one request from my side, friends, to please subscribe my YouTube channel, such that this will motivate me to prepare or make more such videos in coming days. And so I'm looking for some subscribers, which I'm not exactly getting. So please, it's a request from my side to please subscribe my YouTube channel, like, share, and comment also for better reach. So that's it, friends, for today. We'll meet in the next video of compressor air part B, friends, which will be uploaded in the coming days, friends. So that's it, friends. Please to subscribe, my friends. Finally, I'll also please press the bell icon so that you get the next video notification as soon as I upload it in 1 or 2 days, friends. And thirdly, also please share with your colleagues, friends, whomever you think that these videos are going to help them. Also